City Commission study session. We'd like to welcome Commissioner Taylor back from her birthday
Thank you.
vacation.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comments?
None registered?
Thank you. Items for presentation and discussion. Item A is the city support of a Hidden Lakes tax credit application. Director Thorpe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. What you have in front of you is kind of a step back to something that I believe most of you had heard about before. Just a little history, the Hidden Lakes subdivision, this whole process started, back in 21, probably the fall of 21. When they first applied for this Kansas Housing Resources Corporation grant. The grant and Hidden Lakes had asked for a commitment from the city for some skin in the game, so to speak. And so it was decided at that point in time that we would provide $20,000 in tap fees to help offset some of their costs. In that first round, attempting to get the grant, they were unsuccessful. And so we never brought this particular ask back to the commission for formal approval. And so what we are asking now is that we get the commission's formal approval, which is, what is stated in the document. And so we can move forward with the Hidden Lakes without any questions, so to speak. With that, I would answer any questions that you might have.
Do we have any precedents on this? Have we done this before for anybody?
We've done this a number of times over the years. Just various projects. The number may have been different, and how we came to the number was, there's been a lot of different ways that we have offset the costs with various developers over the years. Yes.
Okay, and then I thought I read somewhere, are these rental properties, or are these for sale?
As I understand, these are rental properties.
Okay.
They will be rental properties to begin with, at least. And then for like a 15-year period, I believe it is, that after that period of time, they will be available for sale. And I believe some of these will be rent to own, actually.
So just for clarification, Dennis, the city is not actually allocating $20,000 to the developer. We are waiving $20,000 of the tap fees.
We are waiving $20,000 of tap fees. That is, however you want to look at
Sure.
that, it's still real
But we're
money.
not writing a check.
But we're not writing a check for $20,000.
And we're still collecting $5,968 in additional.
Yeah. And those are approximate numbers, that'll kind of shake out as it goes. I kind of used kind of an average number. So it'll be someplace in there.
But the $20,000 will not change. When you were saying approximate
The
numbers, the
$20,000
$20,000 is a firm number.
That is a firm number, yes.
Okay.
What they might owe us could vary a little bit.
Sure.
And just for clarifications for folks who don't know, tap fee is during construction, you're tapping into the city line. We still have our monthly. On your water, their water bills will still be the same. We will still be
Absolutely.
getting our service fees
Yeah.
monthly.
Tap fees have only to do with initial construction, when they are connecting water lines or sewer lines to the homes. We actually designated these tap fees as water. And that's kind of where I figured it from, but yes, the tap fee is the initial cost for an owner or a developer to hook up to the city mains. And beyond that, yes, every house will have utility bills just like anybody else.
Thank you.
Is there any way that the tap fees are going to be less than $20,000?
No.
Okay.
When we get to a point of actually discussing that, honestly, they might be a little more. but we haven't got to that point yet.
I was looking at the letter and it just says tap fees of $20,000. I was like, well, is there any way that for some magic reason?
And quite honestly, we've committed at the level that I kind of laid out in the memo. And I would expect that from an ethical standpoint, we will abide by that.
Is this the only incentive at this point that they've asked for?
It is.
Skin in the game for the city.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, and this really wasn't the developer's ask, to be quite honest. This was the ask by the housing corporation. The people that dole out the grants, and I think it's fairly typical. I know it's fairly typical, for them to ask for communities, cities, whatever it might be, to have, that skin in the game, so to speak.
They receive additional points.
Mhm.
Calculations.
The memo does ask that you're seeking swift approval of this particular request. We do have a meeting on Wednesday. However, this is the only item that will be on the meeting on Wednesday. Are you looking for? How would you feel about us having the conversation today and moving it along?
I am absolutely fine with that. Absolutely fine. Like I say, this is something that most of y'all have seen before. We just never brought it back for approval for the reasons I stated.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Kaler. They've already delayed several things on the project. I hate to delay them more, so I'd be in favor of moving it to the 16th. It's regular city
We
commission.
should be in favor of having that discussion right now and making a decision.
Oh, you mean sooner than Wednesday?
Well, it is the
Because-
only thing that will be on the agenda for Wednesday, and we may not need to have a
2
meeting
days ago, make a difference to me. That's right. We're good.
unless you want to
I
meet
agree.
just to meet.
So I think we're in consensus to have that discussion now. So Commissioner Clayton, how do you feel?
I'm certainly in favor of it. I think, obviously, like you said, gives us skin in the game. It helps their application look better to the state when we, kind of like you said, have our skin in the game, do our part as well. So absolutely.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore,
Green might go.
Commissioner Graves,
I agree.
Commissioner Taylor,
I'll make the motion that we approve the request for the $20,000 waive of tap fees in Hidden Lake subdivision.
for a second.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The same sign. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That'll move us on to item B, which is comments by our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Commission. Just recap some basic operation briefing here. The water plant crews attended training and performed great maintenance and continued to assist electric distribution crews on the distribution system. And this week they're focusing on maintenance and annual physicals as well as assisting as needed. The distribution and wastewater collection staff assisted crews on the distribution system, and this week they're focused primarily on the water main installation at 9th Street. Electric distribution, our distribution superintendent, Ed Thompson, asked that I convey his sincerest appreciation for the support of the Ottawa linemen and all the good words that they have received from their coworkers and the public at large throughout the ordeal of storm recovery. And he's especially grateful to all the departments that stepped up to assist. Ed reports that the electric distribution crews continue to make more permanent repairs on our distribution system and encourage everyone to inspect their trees paralleling the city's distribution grid. This is commonly found in our alleyways. And if you can identify and without risk to yourself, remove any hanging limbs or debris, or notify city crews if it is in that back area to remove to remove those limbs. And if you're also utilizing an arborist, then they should be able to do so if they can safely do so. Because these hangers will fall onto our electric lines, feeding our service to our individual customers, and it is and has resulted in outages. This result not only in a single impact to a single residence, but multiple customers as well. So over the next 2 weeks, crews will be busy completing the installation and reinstallation of utility poles that were damaged during the storm, and they have about a dozen to do. Forest Park should be fully restored this week as crews get the last remaining primary feed online. And they'll also at that point start to focus on streetlights for repair or replacement, and that'll be a street by street process. Just want to highlight that given the day-to-day workload, coupled with this storm recovery operation, it'll be probably October before the storm repairs are fully completed. But as you know, the calendar never rests, so we have a high-profile community event coming up in September, and the 2023 holiday season will be right behind it. So crews begin work this week in the evenings along Main Street to get the Christmas lights fully operational. So no rest for the weary. Our electric production crews operated units 6 and 7 to provide power to the grid for the Southwest Power Pool on August 3rd and 4th. They also repaired the roof and broken windows at the facility that was damaged during the July 30th storm. They continue their ongoing maintenance operations. As also this week will be focused on completing our MS4 stormwater sampling permit paperwork and working to transition from incandescent overhead lights to LED fixtures. I want to point out too that our warehouse staff is busy restocking the warehouse following the storm response, and our superintendent Kurt Altek reports that we did get in 908 electric smart meters for the 2022 and 2023 budget years. So that's part of last year's purchase and this year's purchase. Public Works operations, our crews continue their dedicated and diligent work for curbside pickup from the storm debris, and also conducting any street sign maintenance that as a result from the storm damage is needed. Ottawa's Finest is performing quarterly firearms training this week throughout the entirety of the week, and working with Human Resources to prepare for the next round of candidate testing on August 25th. Some other items of note related to administration and projects. We're pleased to announce that Lucas Neese will begin work as the Director of Neighborhood and Community Services on Monday, August 28th. Lucas comes to us with a graduate, from the University of Kansas, graduating Phi Beta Kappa with degrees in German and Architectural Studies, and holds a master's degree in International Affairs from the Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies in Geneva, Switzerland, as well as a Master of Public Administration from the University of Kansas.
That would be 2 degrees from KU.
Mm.
That's 2, Mike. I just want to make sure you got
I
that.
wasn't counting, but
Okay,
thank you,
but
Commissioner Taylor.
she got that. It's 2.
He previously served as a management intern with Douglas County Manager's Office and as an assistant city administrator for the city of Lynchburg, where his responsibilities included economic development, land use, and managed the development of the comprehensive and strategic plans for the community, as well as serving as KMEA's EMP3 chair. Lucas has extensive experience in managing state and federal grants, including the $39 million Child Care Accelerator Grant and COVID-19 federal grants for Lynchburg. So we're excited for Lucas to join our team. Also, I'd like to point out that we're pleased to announce that Mr. Dan Riney has been appointed as our utility director and will be stepping into that role to replace our esteemed retiring colleague, Director Dennis Tharp. This appointment will be in effect until a permanent director is selected. As we bid a fond farewell to Dennis and thank him for his dedicated years of service, we're confident that the Utilities Department will continue to serve and thrive under Dan's experienced leadership. Dan brings with him an impressive tenure of 44 years in the utility sector. He served the citizens of Ottawa with dedication since March of 2015, first as our superintendent of wastewater reclamation and later taking up the mantle as one of our assistant utilities directors in January of 2022. Our aims to ensure a seamless transition and uninterrupted service to our community as we progress. We'll be conducting a rigorous national search for a permanent utility director with the targeted start date ideally set for March or April of 2024. We're dedicated to finding the right leadership to align with our organization's goals and uphold our commitment to serving Ottawa. We're incredibly grateful for the expertise, knowledge, and experience that Dan brings to this role. And we trust that under his leadership, the Utilities Department will continue to uphold the standards of excellence and commitment to our community. So give Dan some words of appreciation and support when you see him next. A rundown on some items that we'll discuss in greater detail. I said it the August 16th, but we'll have it at the following regular meeting. We'll have City Hall security that's ongoing. Following the July 24th directive to negotiate improvements and timelines within the total budgeted amount of $230,000. City Hall HVAC repair, we're in the conceptual stage at this point, developing a project timeline for initiation, and we'll continue to keep you informed on that progress. Our City Hall phone system, our Director of IT, Paul Summer, reports that we've received notice for the discontinuation of our support for the current phone system. So we're working to assess our options and consideration to develop a preliminary timeline and anticipate a budget for a system replacement. And we'll provide updates in a September study session on this matter. The municipal dark fiber infrastructure RFP, staff's currently reviewing a draft RFP that our city attorney has drafted, and we plan to distribute the RFP to all current and interested high-speed fiber network providers for the delivery of cost-effective, high-speed internet service to every part of our community, which includes high-speed fiber to the home. The target date for distribution of the RFP is the last week of August for a submittal deadline in the last week of September. Again, these are target dates. Because of the public nature of the city's declared intention to consider the sale of the municipal fiber assets through a public RFP process, interesting bidders were notified on August 9th that city staff and elected officials will be unable to attend service announcements or groundbreakings. And as a general summary of that August 9th communication, simply stated that we truly appreciate their commitment to serving Ottawa, and given the ongoing development of the RFP, city staff and representatives, including elected officials, are unable to attend any groundbreaking or public gatherings, and we encourage all service providers to participate and network with Ottawa's Chamber and Main Street Associations. And I should add to this for final posting, our FCDC group as well. We share our sincere gratitude for their interest in serving Ottawa and working to improve our quality of life. We're also continuing work on our birds and bees, urban agricultural municipal code development. So we haven't forgot about that. And we've got some review that the city attorneys created for staff to have an internal review on, and we'll follow up with tomorrow. And then also want to highlight, which will be included in the final draft of the report here, that Ottawa was one of 20 awards for a MIH grant, and that was given to Legacy Lofts in the amount of $400,000. So we continue to see excitement and investment in our downtown, not only by local participants, but by the state at large. So we continue to leverage outside money with our local investors as well. So that concludes my report. If there are no questions for myself or the city team.
I don't believe so. Comments by city commissioners, Commissioner Graves,
I have no comment.
Commissioner Kaler,
None at this time.
Commissioner Clayton.
I'll just reiterate what Mr. Silcott said about the selection for the MAH grant. That's always exciting when, you know, state funds come to town, especially when they're dollar amounts that are that large. And I think it'll be a great project for downtown for the housing needs as well. And so I'm excited to see that start going.
Mayor Pro Tem Skidmore.
Just want to wish my daughter happy birthday. Today is her 39th birthday. It's still hard for me to grasp that. She's our middle child, so we got married when we were 12 and 14 years old. That's illegal. But anyway, I'm glad for her. She wasn't due until late September. She came a little early, and so we were kind of shocked by that. Learned that to be a parent, you never always have to be prepared, just like a Boy Scout. Never know when that comes. But anyway, I wish her a happy birthday.
I have no comments. A few announcements. Looks like we've canceled our meeting for Wednesday, morning. So that one we won't have. August 18th is our city employee retiree volunteer and families event from 5:30 to 9 at Fusion Alley. August 21st, study session at 4 p.m. and then September 4th is Labor Day holiday. So our study session will be canceled. Anything else to come before the commission this afternoon? I'll adjourn.